This is the second video for Unit 2 for the unit test. If you missed the first video, it covers prime factorization, greatest common factor, and least common multiple. So if you need help with any of those, because they will be on the test, please check out the other video before this on the website. This video will cover multiplying and dividing fractions and mixed numbers. Multiplying fractions, pretty straightforward. You've done that before. But when they are mixed numbers, we have to make sure that we follow these rules. First, turn any mixed number into an improper fraction. Cross-reduce if you can. Then multiply the fractions and simplify your answer. And there's a tip. You can only cross-reduce after you've made it an improper fraction. Don't do it beforehand, or else you'll get the incorrect answer. Okay, so here is an example that we will go over, and here are our steps again. So the first step is to turn these improper fractions into mixed numbers, and we do that by multiplying the denominator, 2, times the whole number 1, so that's 2 times 1 is 2, and then you add the numerator and get 3. So you are left with 3, and you keep the denominator, 3 over 2. Separate that. Let's do the same for our second number. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 3 is 18, and we keep our 5, so 18 fifths. And that's what we have down here. I'll slide us down. Now, let's cross-reduce if we can. Can we divide 3 and 5 by anything? No. Can we divide 2 and 18 by anything? Yes, we can divide them both by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 18 divided by 2 is 9. We'll use those numbers in our problem. Now let's go ahead and multiply. 3 times 9 gives us 27 for a numerator, and 1 times 5 is 5 for the denominator. This is an improper fraction when your numerator is larger than your denominator. So we need to make that into a mixed number. To do so, we put the numerator in here, the denominator 5, and we divide. 5 into 27, 5 times. 5 times 5 is 25, and we have a 2 as a remainder. That 2 becomes the numerator, and we keep this 5 as our denominator. So our answer is 5 and 2 fifths. Go ahead and practice these two. Remember, you need to change them into improper fractions first, and then multiply. So why don't you pause the video here, give them a shot, and then come back and see your answers. Here are the problems as improper fractions after we did the conversions. Now you could go ahead and solve the rest of the problem. For this first one, we can cross-cancel our 5 and 5. We can divide them both by 5, and they become 1s. 12 and 4, we can reduce by 4. We get a 1 and a 3. Multiplying, you get 3 over 1, which is 3. Of course, if you didn't cross-cancel, let's see what would have happened. 5 times 12 is 60 over 20. And again, that would simplify to 3, just using larger numbers. So if you don't do cross-simplifying, it's okay, but you will need to do it at the end. For the second problem, again, we can cross-cancel a 5 and a 5 and get 1 and 1. And the 3 and 21 are both divisible by 3. So 1 and 7. 7 over 1, which is 7. Okay, what about division? If you remember division, we had that funny rule that we called KFC. And those stood for keep, flip, and change. And what we do is we look at our problem, and we keep the first fraction. So I'll rewrite it, 3/4. we change the second fraction. I'm sorry, I mean we flip the second fraction. So this second fraction, which is 1/2, gets flipped on its head, and it becomes 2/1. And we change the division to multiplication. Now we treat this just like we've treated all of our multiplication problems. Can we cross simplify? Yes. The 2 and the 4 are divisible by 2, so we have 1, 2. Multiplying, we would get 3/2, and simplifying to 1 1/2. Okay, but if they're mixed numbers, what do? We do the same thing. We change them into improper. So remember, we multiply denominator times numerator. Denominator times whole number is 2, plus 1 is 3, so 3/2 divided by 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. Keep our 3, 8/3. Remember, this is still division. We haven't changed it to multiplication yet. So let's go ahead and follow those rules. Keep first one. Flip the second one. And change to multiplication. Now we cannot do any cross canceling here, so we just have to multiply. And we get 9/10. I'm sorry, 9/16. That cannot be reduced, and that is our final answer. Okay, why don't you try these two problems? Go ahead, follow the steps, pause the video, and then come back and see how you did. Here's the first one. We had to change that first fraction. Whoops, we had to change this one into 7/4 divided by 2/7. We flipped our 2/7 to make it 7/2. Multiplying, we get 49/8. Simplifying, we get 6 1/8. And our second one. Our first number as an improper fraction is written as 15/4 divided by 5. Now, notice it's just a 5, so we put a 1 under it for the denominator. But then we have to flip it. It becomes 1/5. Cross-canceling, we can cancel our 5 and 15. They're both divisible by 5. We get a 1 and a 3. Multiplying through, 3/4 cannot be simplified, and that is the final answer. So this is the end of this video, and like I said, if you need help with the greatest common factor and least common multiple or prime factorization, they're all on the test. Check out the video before this. Good luck.